What's going on, everybody? You are listening to the Playing On podcast. My name is Carl Markowski, and thank you for joining me. I am literally about to step out the door for Chicago and take the 4-hour trip all the way to Gaelic Park to walk the field, have a little practice, and play the Chicago event. So I just want to take this time to wish everybody luck, wish everybody safe travels. Hope that everybody gets to Chicago safe and has a good time at the event. Play your asses off. No sponsors today. Just a little good luck pat on the back for everybody. And hope you all have fun. But this episode is with Harrison Frye. He has been playing paintball for a good chunk of years now, and he's playing all over the world. It's crazy to see his Instagram stories and just his social media because of his travel. He's all over, and he's now currently playing with Seattle Thunder, playing professional paintball, and it's cool. It's a cool guy, and I had a good time talking to him. So here is the episode with Harrison Frye. Enjoy.
What's up, dude?
Shit, dude, not much. What's going on with you?
Just got back from a little hike thing. This like abandoned bridge out here in Washington. It's the second largest bridge in all the United States, and it's a railway bridge, and we like kind of snuck up on it and hiked and like took pictures and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Could you do me a favor for me, and could you sit in front of the wall rather than the window, because it's like, there you go.
I put this down. I was wondering, actually. Thought you might say that.
I'm not trying to be picky, but trying to make sure people can see your face.
It is beautiful.
Mm. Oh, so much better already.
How you doing? How many of these have you done now?
I believe this is 60.
Whoa.
I know, right? I feel like I don't feel like I've done 60. Your hair has gotten extremely long, I feel, since the last time.
Dude, last practice, I was like snapping, and it was in front of my mask and like lens, and it was like doing this.
Oh, you're that guy now.
And I was like, I need to put this up tomorrow. I can't play like this. It's like affecting my game. Usually it doesn't, usually don't notice it, but
yeah.
Yeah.
When did you decide to grow it out? I feel like because when when was the last time I saw it? Did I see you at the last event?
Probably. I think we're all busy. But
that was Dallas, which was a few months
AC.
back.
AC was the last event.
Well, I wasn't there.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's been a few months. So you probably, yeah.
Why were you there?
My knee. I had a tear in my meniscus.
That's not fun.
No,
but
dude,
that'll
put you out.
One of the better things that have happened to your knee, right? I mean, when you say, "Oh, my knee," and then tearing meniscus, it's not. That's like.
Yeah,
right? Am I wrong?
No, it is. It's one of those things where it could heal itself on its own. It could be something where you have to. You have one of those cameras that's at the bottom of your screen too, don't you?
Yeah.
Thomas Kim had the same thing. The camera was like down at the bottom. I wonder why they did that. Well, no, it's like because you can see your fingers, and I just didn't know. I was like, oh, it's down by the bottom.
Yeah, it's like I got like a travel laptop. It's real skinny, so they had to put it down there.
So speaking of travels, anyway, you have been all over the place this year.
Are we recording or?
Yeah, dude, we've been recording since yesterday.
Okay. Mike Zapp did that same thing to me. We were just hanging out talking, and he's like, "Yeah, you know we're recording." Oh, okay, cool. Uh, yeah, currently I'm in Olympia, Washington. I'm at AO's house, Aaron Omrod. So he was gracious enough to let me hang out here
Yeah.
uh, in between practice and the event. So
Where are you from originally?
Boston, Boston area. So not the city, but uh, right close to it.
So why not play for like an East Coast team, or who did you play for before Seattle?
NYX. So I was on NYX for 4 years, and just sometimes when you're with the same guys for a long time, personality clashes and
Yeah.
whatever else. We're all still good friends, but yeah, we had five of us actually left at the same time. Keith
Hmm.
DeVitt, Benny Carroll, myself,
Oh, is that
Greg,
where
and
David came
Frankie,
from
and
too?
he. I wouldn't say came from. I'd say he before then play. He played with Heat before then, and also Vicious, and Lift, and Keith's been around for a while,
Yeah.
and also Avalanche. Yeah,
Played for Avalanche too?
the 7-man version of Avalanche.
I guess it's
When
been
like
a
the
while
last like 2 years of Avalanche
Yeah.
with with um with what's his name? I forget.
Ed Portman,
Vanquish
Danny
guy.
Tiljack.
No, later. Not Vanquish guy. Vanguard Creed guy.
I'm drawing a blank.
Me too.
My Paintball memory is not very good at all.
That guy.
I remember I was
Really?
listening to an
You've been
episode.
around long enough.
Right, right. Well, I was listening to an episode of Mike Zapp's, and I forget who he was talking to, but they were doing like a paintball. There's a paintball quiz like thing. They were just rapid fire, just going through all these. Oh, name this, name this, name this, name this, and I'm like, I had such a hard time. I got a couple of them, but I have such a bad memory. It's no joke. I need to grow. I need to grow like ginkgo biloba in the backyard or something, and just
Well, hey,
eat
that's
it.
why that's why doing these things is great, right? We're solidifying history and kind of writing it down. And same thing, like, go interview your grandma about your family history, right? Because once she's gone, it's gone. So like, and a lot
Yeah.
of these stories and things are, just the human story, right? Even though it's like professional paintball, it's still just human interactions and human stories that we get, and
Yeah,
that's why these things are so valuable.
I know.
Um,
I didn't really, I didn't really think about them like that when I first started doing them. I was enjoying it, and I don't think I really kind of harnessed the capability of really what it is, and encompassing kind of the story and then the personalities and all these other things that make paintball great and what it is, and what we enjoy about it. And I think after a few, I realized really how the value of what these bring to the table and to people. And even with Instagram and the other social media platforms that are out there, you kind of get an idea of who somebody is. But I've heard and really read a lot of things saying like social media, especially Instagram, can almost portray a happier you than
oh, of course.
than what you actually are. And it's nothing really gets a person's personality and who they are across like a long form anything. So especially like these, like
Yeah.
going through, you kind of get somebody's thought process and how they process things, or how they what they truly think about things, when in just a picture with a filter on it. Maybe it was Elon Musk was talking about. I just listened to the Rogan Elon Musk thing, and
It was that actually. I saw that. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
and
what you're talking about. Yeah.
and yeah, thinking about
No,
it, I'm like,
you're
yeah,
absolutely
it's
right.
true.
I mean, no one posts like if I took an ugly picture of you, you're not going to go ahead and post it, right? But, we could go make an ugly picture and there it is, here.
Yeah,
They're seeing us doing ugly things. But yeah, no one's going to post an ugly picture on Instagram or Facebook. So it's always the highlights.
Yeah.
And
well, I think that was the
like,
joys. That was the joy of like the disposable camera days. of like you just took all these pictures, not knowing or really caring what they're going to look like or how they're going to turn out.
That.
And then when you get them back, even if like 75% of them are shit, the ones that you got, you like, they were precious to you, you know, because they were like, oh, these turned out, this is awesome. You stick it on your wall, you know, and it's like, you know.
Yeah, that reminds me. I got to get a disposable camera and do that. I did it a few years ago. I had one, and I, you know, brought it to a party, and then I put it away for a few months, and then brought it somewhere else, and then developed them like a year later, and I had all these snapshots of my life. That's a cool way to, you know, don't spend it all in one day, but bring it out every once in a while and take some pictures.
Well, I think we're all
cool.
You should definitely. I think it's a great idea. I should start doing that too. And
it's a small investment. And cool.
We're all so perfectionists now. And we're all professional photographers with how good the cameras are and all the filters and the apps that we have to make everything we do seem perfect. And it's just not the case. And I think that's what, I think, so many people do strive for perfection, but there's so much character in the flaws that I think we overlook. And it's just sad when some people are just, all they want is to be perfect, and all they want to do is be the best, and all they want, and I think sometimes people forget about the people on the journey getting to wherever you're supposed to be, and they don't really appreciate it.
That's actually funny. Today, I told you I was hiking this abandoned, so it's an abandoned train bridge, and it was 374 feet from the bottom, and they took about, it's really tall. We dropped a rock, and it took 6 seconds. We counted 1, 2, all the way to 6, and then we heard it hit, and they took off some of the ties, so we were like climbing on the I-beam to get out there.
Oh my god!
Maybe we can show a picture of it or something. But,
dude.
I was with Ian Freeman. He's a local player out here with the Ninjas out of Washington, and we were doing the picture thing, and I was like, man, remember when we were kids and like we didn't have like cell phone, like we wouldn't have even considered like taking a picture of this. We would have just like enjoyed the day, like had a cool, wow, that was really cool. We would have worn whatever sweatshirt or old thing we had on, and didn't matter.
Yeah.
And then like we would have gone home, and that would have been it, and it wouldn't have been like, I don't know, it was just different, right? And now we're like, oh, give me a picture here, because we're taking pictures of each other because it's a cool place, right?
Yeah.
We want to have some cool pictures of each other, and I don't know, it was just like a thing. I was doing that.
No, man, I agree, and I think it's I think it's tough for me too, because I want to share things with other people. And just like these podcasts, but I want to share some moments I have with people, but I can't do. I feel like you're taking moments away from yourself if you're just constantly putting it out there every second of your life or every moment of your life. You're not really appreciating it, or if you are, maybe that's who you are and that's how you do it. It's not my place to judge. But I think now, I was talking about this with a buddy of mine, but now it's, time is so much more precious now. And back then we were so naive and so ignorant to the value of time. And now we want to.
When you're a little kid.
Yeah, when you're a little kid, or even when you're. I mean, we were.
Imagine next week we're gonna go somewhere.
Right.
Oh, that's forever, right? Or next year, you have to wait a whole year for something, right?
Mm-hmm. Or when you first started high school. Right? I remember when I first started high school, my mom was telling me, she's like, these are going to be some of the best 4 years of your life. And all I could think about was like, oh my God, 4 years? Like, and I didn't know anybody going into this high, except for two people I knew. Because I went from a Catholic grade school to a public high school. So I didn't know anybody coming in. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a crazy next 4 years. And you kind of, that's a big wake-up call going from a Catholic grade school to a public high school. You kind of realize what real life is at that point.
And that was in Chicago, or?
No, I'm from Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that a lot. A lot of people think I'm from Chicago.
Aftershock. And...
See, but how many? But I wonder how many players are actually from those places. Like, so we have.
Seattle? No.
Yeah, yeah. See,
I'm
like
not from
myself, I'm
Seattle.
from Ohio. Rob Velez is from Wisconsin. J.J. Williams and C.J. Kander are from St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other guys. Brian McKenna is from Montreal.
Yep.
And who does that leave that's from Chicago? I know I'm forgetting some. Oh,
Kerr
Iannucci.
was from Chicago.
Yeah. Well, Kurt was living down in Florida.
Yeah.
Uh,
In the van.
yeah. So, but Iannucci, little Johnny, he's from Chicago. But I mean, it's everybody's from everywhere. I mean, that's just kind of what it is nowadays.
Yeah. I take so many flights nowadays.
So how did you? So how did it come about? You getting on Seattle Thunder?
So I just told this story. I had an interview with Nick, and basically, last December I was on vacation in Bali.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
you
there.
did a Ghost Sports thing with Nick.
Yeah, yeah.
I still gotta watch
So I was
that one.
in. Yeah, it was good.
It's good. I'm in it. It's good.
You should watch it.
I just watch and get all this information.
No, it was. I was in Asia basically for a tournament. Happened to win the tournament on my birthday.
Nice.
It was a cool. I've never won a tournament on my birthday. That was a good adventure. And then spent the next month traveling in Asia. So I was in Bali, and I actually met up with Oliver there. That was cool. Got to see his home turf over there.
Yeah.
And yeah, at one point I'm just on my moto driving around. I'm actually going back to the airport, and I look for my GPS, and there's just a text from Corey Field. I'm like, all right, I'll pull over, get some lunch, and start talking to Corey Field. And I don't know, the opportunity came up, and I responded, and talks went well, and here I am. Basically, I think I just got a lot of pull from Jared Lackey and Devin Cayley, and just been around enough, known enough people. I mean, just exposure.
Yeah.
Seeing people seeing me play, people knowing me. I mean, that's kind of the way most people go pro, right? It's not just you have to be good at playing, but you also have to have be a good person and have kind of the right connections. And I don't know. You've been pro since you're in a diaper, so maybe you don't remember.
Well, no. The thing is like for me, it was definitely. So I'm trying to think though. Like the number one thing for me is the reason I got noticed was because I was fast.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't because my playing ability. It wasn't because I wore some kind of outlandish headgear and everybody wondered whatever. It was I just had that one attribute. I was fast. So it's like, I that's one thing I wonder because some people do try out. Some people go through tryouts. Some people just know people. And yeah, it sounds like in your case, I don't even know how you and I met. I think was it 10 man or was it something else?
10 man.
Was it 10 man?
10 man. Yeah. But what was your first team?
Tip and Effect.
Tip and Effect.
Yeah.
Right, and everyone else was older than you, right?
So I was about the same age as everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like they needed a guy to go run to the 50 and shoot a bunch of guys, and then they'll clean up, right?
Well,
was that your job for a while? I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
And I think back in that time, like that was a very valid job, and that you didn't even have to have a gun, even just run there and take some, and let the other guys kind of work around you.
Yeah.
And I think going up these days, yeah, it's harder to just say, oh, well, I was really fast, and then that was kind of my in, because it's like everyone's a lot more technical now. Paintball's a lot slower, and I don't know, that's slower, but it's a lot more like consistent over all the boards. You have to be good at every position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was having this I've been having a lot of conversations lately, if you haven't noticed. But we were talking about this too, of the progression of paintball and kind of where it is now, and how it's more less risk taking and more well, I don't know how you want to call it, but more
Shooting
nobody.
guns.
Yeah, I mean nobody, because it's so fucking easy to do. With ramping and
Yeah.
everything, it's so easy to sit there and shoot your offhand and control a lane.
Shoot a bounce
Then
shot.
yeah, and then okay, well, if he doesn't do this, then shoot the bounce shot. Then you can shoot him. Great, that's a great skill. You're doing amazing. It's so good that you know bounce shot, and it's. Yeah, I don't want to say it's like killing a part of the game, because it's obviously a field walking skill or knowing the field or some kind of advantage. It's a part of the game. It is what it is. But it's
Yeah.
such, I feel like such a cop out, because if I'm just a head up, straight up better paintball player than you, if you want to call it that way, but
Yeah.
you in this instance know that you can't shoot me head on, but you can like shoot this bunker and bounce him in on me. Are you then in turn the better paintball player because you're
It's
shooting
like
that
smarter
bounce
but
shot?
less skill. Yeah.
But
It's
like,
more of a it's more of the. I agree with you. I think it hurts like viewership. It hurts a lot of aspects, and
Mhm.
you're shooting more paint, blah blah blah, etc. Um,
Do you
I've
think
heard
paintball
that
was
they're
better as far as the viewer goes? Do you think paintball back then was more viewer friendly than it is now?
I think X Ball was way more viewer friendly. I mean, it's faster and I mean, 15 balls per second is, I think, the way to go. You can see it, you can hear it. It's like, and
Mhm.
maybe not at like the beginner level, right? Because that's scary or whatever to a new kid coming up, give him like 5 balls per second or 10 balls per second, for D4 or something. But at pro level, I think absolutely should be 15 balls per second. Quick, smaller bunkers, or maybe
Semi-auto.
not as many big bunkers.
Mhm.
Um, and I think even reducing the number of players, 5-on-5 is a lot to be. Um, there's too much ability to do that, right? Like,
Mhm.
you have a front guy, and then you have a guy that's just sitting and shooting the gap so the other front guy can't go, and then they're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I would
I've been having a lot of new ideas like floating around in my head, like about progression of the sport. And
and
it's
there
been
needs to
great
be. Yeah.
talking with some of these a lot of these guys, and like bouncing ideas off them. And
Mhm.
Ao's got some great ideas, and Devin Cayley's got some great ideas. So it's been great to do that. But yeah, I think, man, 3-man, um, like 30 seconds in between points and 15 balls per second would be a really fun game to watch.
Mhm.
And rack up the scores like old X Ball, 15-10 as a score, right? That's an
Yeah.
exciting game rather than 3-4. And 10 balls per second is like, I don't know, it's more lame. Yeah, and you don't
Especially
want to
with
see someone
electronic
get
markers.
yeah, you don't want to see someone get like shot in the pack and like, okay, they're out, right? You want to see someone get blasted and like shot
Right.
3 or 4 times. That's exciting, right?
Mhm.
And bright paint, you can see it blow off them, and you can see it in the air. I think that's gonna be that would be a better game for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
think.
my newest thought. But I think
I think that I think 5-on-5 could be manageable, just for the simple fact that it's familiar, meaning that hockey's 5-on-5,
yeah,
basketball's
basketball.
5-on-5. But those are also open field and open ice sports, meaning there's nothing in between. So how I think it should have went about is that if we were gonna take out one big bunker, right? We were gonna take out one big bunker, and we were gonna add another one. I can understand if we were gonna keep the same amount of bunkers, but if we're gonna take out one big center bunker and then would they add 6? Or
Yeah,
1, 2, 3,
there's
4.
the 2 wings, 2 car washes. Is that it?
Is that it? 1, 2,
That's it.
3, 4. No, and then 2 bricks. And then there's 2 big bricks. There's 2 wings. No, there's 6 wings. It's the angles,
yes,
the wedges.
there's 6 wings. Yeah, there's 6 wings. That's the problem.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so four wedges and 2 bricks. So they added 6 bigger bunkers, but then kept the same amount of other bunkers on the field. So now you have 6 times the bounce shot. That might not be the right math. Don't quote me. But I mean, you're now allowing for that much close quarter paintball, but then that much more bounceability, if you want to call it that. Because I mean, just referring, going to this field, I mean, that's anyway. Going back to that, but I think they should have took out some bunkers anyway. At least the pins and maybe something else. But if they were going to add that many, they should have took some away. But
I think having, I mean, if they're going to have the same amount of bunkers, at least okay, Chicago layout, omit 2 wings, right? And then the World Cup layout, it's omit 1 car wash, right? Or, omit 2 pins or something, right? Like, you don't have to, just because the bunker set, you don't have to use the whole thing every time, right?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe then field owners might get pissed off because they're buying more or whatever else. But it would, I don't know, why do you have to use every single bunker every time? It's because every layout has been, 50s are big, which is good. I think that's good, actually, because it helps you get to the 50 much quicker, right?
Right.
Like that 50 snake, right? How quick do you get there? Or the 50, even the 50 Dorito, it's like, it's a free pass, and then you can go shoot people. It's exciting and good.
So
right? And being a front player, I love that.
Yeah, dude. It reminds me of old 7-man. Let's talk about the field. What do you think?
Okay.
I think this is one of the cooler fields that they've come out with. As far as whenever I look at the field. Okay, whenever you look at a field layout, do you put the snake on the right hand side or the left hand side when you're looking at it?
Right hand in my brain.
Yeah. Well, no. Physically, when you're looking at a layout, do you have the snake on the right hand side or the left hand side?
The right.
Of course, the right hand side. Because you know what I think? I think whatever spot you normally play, at least for me, whatever spot I normally play, I always go towards my dominant hand, like subconsciously.
Yeah. Sure, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
sure.
Yeah.
So for you, the Dorito side's on the right hand.
For me, the snake is on the right hand side. So if it's a secret that I was gonna play the snake side, the secret's out. I'm sure that's not a secret. But I think it's really cool. I think there's a lot of different ways to get to the snake. I think there's same thing with the 50 Dorito, that brick over there. I think there's a good few different ways to get over there, and it's quick. It can be quick. It can definitely, and I think will slow down by the time we get to Sunday. At least everybody's going to find those cross shots. But I think there's enough shit in the middle to be able to find a way to cut the seam.
Yes.
And
it's a little sketchy, I think, especially on the Dorito side. Like, you have to just take that bite. But they're for sure, the gaps aren't crazy huge. But yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of people running around
slower on the
with hits
Dorito
on
side.
You think?
Yeah. You don't agree?
No.
That was my experience.
No,
I think it's slower.
I think it's equally aggressive on each side. I think it's going to be slower, but I think so. This is how I think. So I think it's going to be equally aggressive on each side, because I've seen each side be held up or be aggressive as they can be. Because I mean, if you have one guy looking one way or the other, that snake or Dorito side can go right to the 50. I mean, and very, very, very quickly. And I think the middle, I think that's going to be more of like the question mark of how it's going to play out. I don't really know how it's going to play out yet, but I think that middle is going to be, I think it's going to end up being very crucial on this field.
Especially the Dorito side tower.
Yeah, if people are going to figure it out, I think because that tower can hold down and lock down that D side. You have cross shots on the snake side, but you also have a lot of control on that D side, and you can bump into the Doritos if need be.
True. Yeah, that tower is going to be huge. I think that come Sunday, though, it's going to be harder to make, especially off the break. People are going to have to get creative to get there.
Yeah. There's good shots cross field as far as like off the break, going up to that thing between two.
Those cans, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Between that can on the right and then the tower. And then same thing with that little Aztec that kind of is offset up in the middle a little bit. That's kind of like, that's like a 70-30.
To get to the snake.
Yeah, that's like a 70-30 spot. It's like, 70% of the time I can make it, but that 30%.
It is, it's hard to make that bunker, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially on somebody, that's why I preach it so much to it's not the guys just laning, right? You always have the back guys, if you want to call them that now, or whoever, but they're always practicing their laning. They're always picking a zone and that gap, and they're just. But I mean, if you, as a front guy, if you can take that first step, like take those first steps and come across right towards the middle. That's why I tell whoever is going to shoot you, if you can throw paint, 2-3 balls up the middle at whoever's going to shoot you, you have the upper hand because you're already coming across and shooting at those guys when they're coming across trying to get to a gap that you're going to eventually be running through. But if you can throw some paint at them initially, that might throw them off of the lane that they're going to be trying to shoot you through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And your paint's going straight towards them where you're running across their paint. Mm-hmm. And at 10 balls per second, you can just run. Sometimes you can just run through a lane and run in between two balls.
Dude, the first five semi-automatic balls that come out, or whatever the damn NXL thing is, however it's set up, those first 5 balls that come out are so crucial, I feel, to front guys if they're going to be running and shooting anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because the last balls aren't going to really help you.
Yeah.
It might hit them, but it's not going to help you get to your bunker.
Right. I mean, and that's the biggest thing is, at least if I can get you to flinch, you don't have to hit them.
Yeah.
I don't have to hit you. I'll eventually try, but yeah.
Wait till you get to the 50 snake, and then.
There you go. Then I'll weasel
so
around.
that 50 snake, you're liking that thing?
I think it's pretty cool. I think it's something where there's a lot of bounce shots in that, as is the 50 Dorito, but I think it's something playable, which is fun. You're right. There's a lot of people trading out at that spot, but there's also a lot of room to play with as far as like if you're up here and they assume that you're going to go to the 50 snake and you're just going to try and wrap and blah 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 blah. But if you can get there, they call it, you move back to the Cobra, which we're calling that wedge on the inside. Yeah, so you go in there, then you sit there, and you can see, that can, you can see that little, that little home or whatever the hell you want to call it, and anybody coming or going into the snake, you can kind of cut down. Yeah. You can wrap that and start shooting at people on the inside. There's a bunch of stuff on that snake that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, we were playing it actually like it's almost like once you're in the 50 snake, you're kind of the back player. And the front player at the same time, right? Because you're in the best position to stop people filling, because the guy can't see anyone filling. Like your guy behind you can hardly see anyone filling because there's the 50 snakes in the way. So you're in one of the best places to stop people filling. And we kept talking about that. Like your job is just as important now as the back player.
Yeah,
to help them out and then push the field that way.
It's a very double-edged sword, though, I feel, because you're in a good spot to cut things down, but you're also super vulnerable if one or two of your back guys get shot in, and the gaps are so small that I've done it before where I could shoot a couple guys in and I take off and I'm coming to get you. So, and that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen so much, so much. So it's gonna come down to a lot of 3-on-2s. A lot of 3-on-3 play, I feel, because I think there's going to be a lot of quick trades.
We're actually seeing, even the 3 guys or 2 guys in the back can still pull it off.
Yeah.
Compared to some other fields where it's really hard to do that. this was like, just because you shoot three guys, the game is like still very much on and very much, not in only your hands. Like they still have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, and that's that snake corner, the snake corner and the Dorito corner. It's just like it's like a lot of fields. I mean, they're vulnerable depending on what spots they get into, but if you can hold them off from getting into those spots, or if you can predict, like that's the biggest thing is and how I always think about it. If I'm ever, which I'm not stuck in those positions very often, where I'm like in a corner and one of the last guys alive. But if I'm stuck in that situation, I always think of it as, okay, if I were in their situation, what would I try and do? So if I were them, I would try and shoot me through this gap, and then I would try and fill through this gap to get a better angle. So I just take a couple and put them on you, and then I start throwing a couple in that gap, and I'm like, I would try and do that. So, and then sure as shit, they go through, and you get. See, I had a couple times where Bruno kind of fucked me, where I'm in a corner or in like a in kind of one of the spots, like what would you call it? I guess it's like a secondary, right? And we lost like two guys off the break quick, and then another guy gets shot. I'm one of the two guys left. So I was sitting there. This was against X Factor. Might not have been this year, but whatever. But I'm sitting there, and I shoot a guy going into our Doritos, right? But we're on the opposite side of the field, so he can't really see because our pits are on the other side. And then all of a sudden, the next guy fills through that same gap, and I shoot him. And then all of a sudden, it's down to a 3-on-2 instead of a 5-on-2. And then Bruno blows the whistle. And I came off, and I'm like, what did you blow the whistle for? He goes, you guys were getting shit on. I'm like, I just shot two of the guys on the Dorito side, and I brought it down to a 3-on-2. He goes, I can't see that. I'm like,
that's the worst.
Fuck. Yeah.
Coaching is very much a part of the game.
Oh yeah, it's tough too because they're doing it from from the paintball standpoint. They only have so much to go across. Well, now actually they can walk up and down the fields, can't they? Up and down the well,
on the
only
sideline?
So far, yeah.
They're not. I don't think they're supposed to, but I think it happens more often than not.
Yeah, they should be able to go. I think they're allowed up to the middle of the pit side, like the middle of the field pit side. I think they can go up there, but
To the 50s, yeah.
or maybe was it World Cup
No, there's
last
a cutoff.
year?
There's a cutoff. World Cup, it was in the back. Yeah.
But they were also we were pitting on the ends of the field.
Yeah, on the back line. Yeah.
I wonder why they didn't continue that this year.
I don't know what the reason was for that. I think it might have just been how the venue was set up and they didn't have enough room for it. I don't remember getting a story for that.
I don't either. I know it was kind of a pain in the ass with having to run all the way down to the opposite side.
Yeah.
My suggestion, sorry to cut you off. I was going to say my suggestion for the NXL, because there have been plenty of times where I don't get chronoed going onto the field because we're going out late.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody's gone through this because I've seen it happen. But I think they should have two guys at the chrono when you're walking onto the field. Two refs per pit. So, the guy in front of you goes over here, then you go over to this guy, and then you just, vice versa, get chronoed on.
And then if one needs to run,
exactly,
it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And if you need to get a new gun, you're not holding anybody up because you're not the fifth in line for the one chrono that's happening. You're the that's what initially when I saw that happen, I was like, that's a flaw. Like that needs to be changed because what happens is the clock is going down. They're only chrono to the second guy, and then they're just like, oh, just go,
Yeah, right.
And everybody runs out to the pit.
And it's like, we've been playing the whole match like this. Chrono's kind of funny. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
It's like little things like that because
it's efficient.
What's that?
2 is a good idea. It's going to be more efficient and just allow for more kind of error, right? Or like, kind of the human factor of I'm late and need to run on and all that.
They would also have a lot more time if we didn't do split deck.
Yeah, split deck's hard, I think, for viewership. So my idea with the three-man thing I was saying
Bring it on.
would be, like I said, either 20 to 30 seconds in between points, right? And the pits would be right behind the start box. So you just go right in. So just your three guys go right in. And you'd probably have a 6 or 7 person roster. And when you get shot, you go to the 50s and then go back out to the pits, either way. Or you could exit in the back. But and a smaller field, I think it would just be boom, 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 action all the time, 15 balls per second, paint blowing up off everyone, 2-on-1s all the time, right? 1-on-1s all the time. Everyone wants to see 1-on-1s. Everyone wants to see 2-on-1s. And, you'd be able to pull off 2-on-1s all the time, right? There's more points. There's more just chances to – because, how often you get stuck in a 2-on-1, right? It's like, once or twice a tournament or whatever, and then maybe – you're 50% or 30% on 2-on-1s,
right? Just
based off statistics. So like, the chances of winning something like that is just low. It's just higher because there's more. Or I guess it's the same chances, but there's just more ability to do it because it's just more often it's going to happen.
Do you think bigger moves are going to be now kind of put to the wayside as far as like run-throughs or anything like that because it's going to be so much closer quarters?
Bigger moves are going to be easier. Are going to be easier, I think. For one, the 1 point doesn't matter as much, right? Because we're playing, 20, 30 points, right? So go to Chicago next week. You make a big move, and you fail. You're the asshole, right? And 1 point is a lot, right? In X-Ball, as it is right now. But if there's just way more points, then it's less meaningful if you lose it. But if you win it, it's just way cooler and yeah.
I always thought about that too because I feel like the game itself is like this big drama, right? Back and forth play. You don't know what's going to happen, and I always thought of that like scenario like 7-man. I enjoyed playing X-Ball for the athleticism and like the kind of sporty feel, but I enjoyed 7-man because of like the sneakiness and the drama to it. Because the whole game, it's only a 7-minute game. I'm pretty sure it was only 7 minutes. It was only a 7-minute game, but it felt like a lifetime, and you could feel this momentum pull and drag and during the whole match, right? And not only could you feel it on the field, but you could feel it in the crowd. And I don't think, unless you're in paintball, unless you've played paintball or you're involved in paintball, or if you're sitting in the stands, you can't really feel it unless you are in the stands or you're on the field or whatever. And I think you only get that in certain games with X-Ball. I mean, now you kind of get it a little bit more because it's slower, but
it's also so much harder, right? So I guess in a full X-Ball match, right? Because we're doing split deck. It's like, 2 teams just went out, and then 2 more teams just went out, and then by the time the first team goes back out again, it's like, what happened? I forget what the score is. I forget, what their momentum is. What their energy is, and it's a tougher system.
It's tough for somebody who doesn't follow to follow, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what we need. More people more outside people coming in and watching and following and also I think the kind of the five tournament sequence that we have is a big drain, right? I mean, number one year, to say the NXL is shipping all these supplies all across the country 5 times a year, right? So just that alone is thousands of dollars that are leaving the economy of paintball. And then, you're going somewhere 5 times a year. I'm sure, they always send a scout out ahead of time. And, it's not always like the most optimal playing conditions. And, we're setting up a venue in kind of a grass field. But say there was 4 venues or 5 venues, like take the Northeast, the Northwest, South, Southeast, Southwest, and then like Texas or maybe even the Chicago, like in the
Iowa.
sixth, on Iowa or something. Illinois, Iowa. Or even have six, like kind of hyperdomes of paintball and like meccas of paintball where, there's an event every 2-3 weeks, right? In each one of these events,
Mm-hmm.
that's how baseball's played, right? There's 162 games or something per team per year, and maybe we wouldn't have that much, but there's just way more ability for viewers to come out and buy merchandise and come out and get excited. And you could even have, D3 teams play before, kind of like the UFC, like, where the lightweights and the other weights, whatever, middle weights and stuff, fight before the pros, right? The pro teams have a game. So you could have a D3 tournament in the same day or I guess a match. I don't know, I'm throwing a lot of ideas out, but I feel strongly that I guess with anything, right? There's always room for improvement and change. And I don't know. I'd like to see it happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, what it is not necessarily that there's people or teams that are frustrated with the NXL. I think it's more that there's teams and players that are frustrated with the state of the sport. But paintball to me has always been fun, and it always will be fun. It's not as much fun as I wish it could be, as I wish it potentially could be. But I think that our side, our competitive side of paintball has always been in the shadows. I don't know how many times I've answered the question of, you can be a professional at that? Oh,
you play pinball?
There's pros at that? I know what paintball is. I've did that on a birthday party or a coworker party or whatever. It's
professional ping pong?
I think our biggest thing is exposure. Our biggest thing is exposure, because if you talk to somebody about skateboarding, or you talk to somebody about snowboarding or this or that, like they're up to date. They might not be able to tell every single pro or whatever, but they'll know that there is a pro circuit out there of said whatever said sport there is. But
or surfing
exactly. But paintball has never had that. Paintball has always been its own thing, but that's competitive paintball. But paintball as a recreational sport has always been known for, it's been in movies, it's been this, it's been that, it's been I know what paintball is. I shoot some in my backyard, or I shoot some with my friends. People know what paintball is, but we need to somehow bridge that gap of recreational play to, hey, you can become a professional at this. And I don't know if that is the mechanical division. I don't know if that is big games. I don't know if that's divisional tournaments. I don't know if that's the NXL. I don't know what that is, and that's such a tough such a tough bridge to figure out, because that's, I feel, what needs to happen. We need to get some recognition that we are this entity of players that have dedicated our lives to this thing, and it means something to us. Not that it doesn't to everybody else, or to rec ball players or scenario players or anything like that, but I feel like we don't feel justified as players, giving so much to it. I've gotten a lot out of it. I really have.
Oh yeah. Me too.
But if you look at a professional athlete in this sport, and then you look at a professional athlete in another sport, even another extreme sport, there's something missing. There's something there's something missing, and that something missing is outside sponsorship. All these other extreme sports have sponsorships that are not only in their sport, yes, but also they have the Monsters, the Red Bulls, the GoPros, the this is. Why haven't we had that? Fuck, GoPro in one of their commercials or something had paintballs being shot at the GoPro on the ground, or or whatever it was. I remember seeing it, and why haven't we taken advantage of that and try to do something where the players are getting compensated, or the league is building and growing because we're getting more money, you know? And I know I probably sound like a broken record, but the thing is like everybody's getting money and getting paid except for these pro players, except for a select few, but it's
but even that's due to, you know, personal interest, or it's not a business arrangement always, you know.
Right. Why can
where,
why can the teams and everything be a business, and these paintball companies be a business, but the player just has to be a player? You know, he can't go in it for a business for himself to make money and make a career because, well, the money's just not there. Well, the money's there for everybody else. So there needs to be some kind of we need to figure that out, I feel.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of opportunity for, you know, a select few at the top to kind of have a business out of it, right? Like you take Ryan. I mean, I think, you know, Ryan Greenspan, he's traveling every single weekend doing clinics and selling gear and doing, you know, kind of the side hustle. But it's like an entrepreneurship in himself. Like he's selling himself, and he's an entrepreneur selling Ryan Greenspan, and you know,
he's also an outlier.
He's doing
though.
A great job.
He's also
right,
I
agree with that. Yeah. There's very few doing that. But the opportunity is there, you know, but you always need kind of a side hustle. But no, I agree. You know, exposure, more, you know, moms buying paintball gear and even, you know, jerseys and like just, you know, more outside interest. And that's why I think, you know, going to a league based series is going to just have more, you know, more games, more everything. Like, why isn't, you know, did you guys practice someone these past 2 weeks?
Boom. We practiced Boom.
Okay.
And then
so why isn't Boom and Aftershock, why isn't that practice like a mini tournament, right? Or like a you know, a league game, right? And why isn't there, you know, lots of spectators going to that, right? I mean, you guys are going there anyways to practice. Like that could be such a big media outlet and such a big you know, draw. And, you know, like, I don't know, and everyone, because like the past 2 weeks, right, every pro team, there's 20 pro teams, every single one met up with another pro team, or at least another semi-pro team, or, you know, higher level team, and had a practice, right? And there's so much ability to exploit that and give media coverage for that, and like, you know, sell tickets to it or whatever, you know, have like Red Bull there handing out Red Bulls and whatever else.
Well, like, you've been to the old 7-mans, right?
Yeah.
Like what are the old 7-mans to you, I guess, would be the question.
I was at the last Huntington Beach. I was at the last NPPL Vegas.
So 2010? No.
Later than that.
Later than
12, 13. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, that wasn't 7-man. See, 7-man, the
I'm
good.
Too new, man.
How old are you?
26.
Oh, you're a baby.
Yeah.
You're just
My first tournament was in 2005. It was a 3-man tournament near Boston, the NEPL, the New England Paintball League, and my team is like me and my high school buddies, and we shot one person the entire day. So we got 3 points. While the other teams are 95, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. We got 3 points the entire day.
Nice, dude. I'm on the same boat. My first tournament was a shit show.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. It was the best time. There's nothing like it, man. We had all these jerseys we had these JT blue bubble jerseys, and it said cold limit on the back. We thought we were the fucking sweetest things on the planet, dude. We like, yeah.
Cold limit.
And we went out there, we just got shit on so bad. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been terrible at local events. Like, I've guested. Like, I've even after playing pro, Like, I've guested on some of my friends' teams, like playing in local events, and I would just suck the entire time. And then after a while, nobody would invite me to play in these local events because they know I would just eat shit. But
I don't know what to say about that.
it's fun. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say except for I suck.
Yeah. So 7-man, there was something about how it used to be.
Oh, 7-man. So so there was like the Balls energy drink that
Balls,
used to Star used to, or no, or what was it?
Rockstar.
Rockstar used to sponsor
Doritos
Dynasty.
even had a. Remember the one event Doritos had their label on the Doritos?
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Am I wrong about that?
Maybe. I don't know.
And Nextel, Dynasty was sponsored by Nextel or something?
Intel.
Intel, yeah.
Yeah, Intel. There's a ton of potential, man. Especially like with. I mean, it's kind of like NASCAR as far as advertising goes for me because I feel like the bunkers are perfect advertisement, and I could picture a Nike swoosh or the Adidas 3 lines or something on the bunkers. You know, it could because you see the bunkers all the time unless you're zooming in on a player, but for the most part you're seeing bunkers. And then imagine if the bunkers are printed with logos on the sides, and then you always, let's say during a game you have an aerial footage of the players, and then on top of the bunkers,
especially the car washes or something.
Exactly. There's a lot of space and a lot of room. I'm not saying fucking shellac everything in sponsorship logos. But I feel like there's a lot of space that's available to do that.
Yeah, and even like on the pro field, right? You could have the Nike side versus the Under Armour side or something, right?
Yeah. It's
like
all
one
about...
side of the field is Nike swoosh and yeah.
But that's over my head. I'm not. I don't get paid to do that.
Yeah.
I get paid
Maybe we should change that. No.
We'll see, man. There's a lot of things that are there's a lot of rumors that I hear anyway of possible changes of the NXL next year, of what they could be doing, of what they might not be doing, and it's really kind of, I don't know how much it's going to change as far as gameplay goes. It might change a bunch. You just don't know. I mean, I've said this before too. It's one of those things where paintball is always on, its progression. I say progression in air quotes because it's trial and error. We're thinking we're doing something in the name of progression, but we don't really fucking know if it's gonna work or not.
Yeah, like there's someone out there for sure that listened to what I just said about the 3-man thing and being like, that guy's an idiot.
Oh, dude, I'm sure people tell me that.
I think it's the best thing. Yeah. No, we all have great ideas and think it's and we all really believe it's the best for whatever. But
yeah. But do I think my stuff that I come up with will work? Absolutely. Have I proven that theory? No, not really. I mean, I carry 4 pods and a loader because that's fun for me. Like, the whole reason I'm still playing too, I obviously want to win, right? But for me, every ball and every shot for me has an intention. My job isn't to shoot a lot of paint. Even though there's everybody and their mother now shoots, they carry fucking 8 pods on their back no matter what position they're playing, and everybody's shooting a million pods. For me, that's fun. That's like trying to navigate a fucking maze, and I only have 4 pods. Everybody else has 8, but you better know that I'm going to get as far as I can up, and I'm going to shoot every one of you guys, if I can, in under a loader. Like, I won't even fill a pod, and I will figure out a way to shoot you guys within a loader. And
yeah, that's I do that a lot during my January project. Right? So,
yeah, that's right.
The January project is every January I play the entire month. So 30 days in a row playing paintball, and past 2 years I've been doing that at Boston Paint. Boston, I might switch it up this year. I might do like half here, half there. I haven't really come up with a plan. It's obviously a big life commitment. 1/12 of my year committed to playing. But during that, you shoot a lot of paint, and I try to like, experiment throughout the days, and some days I'll go out there and like only shoot a bag for the whole night. And especially if it's, if I'm playing like open play where there's a bunch of dudes out there and it's at an indoor, right? Because Boston's cold in January. So, it's 10 on 10 in the indoor field. And yeah, I'll just like go put myself, go do a half a load or whatever and try and shoot all the younger guys, or go put myself in a position like a 50 bunker where I have to make that one shot count.
Yeah.
And if I miss the guy, like I'm getting punished, right? I'm in a terrible position now, and the guy's there, just to kind of reinstate that stuff.
Yeah.
And something else you said earlier, where you were saying, yeah, you try to predict what people do. And yeah, like at the pro level, you can do that kind of, right? Like, like everyone's kind of playing in a way where they're at least a little predictable, at least when it's 5-on-5 or gameplay, one-on-ones are different. But when you go and play these, like even the rental guys or sometimes you get shot because they're like, you're like expecting them to go over there, and then all of a sudden they're over here. And like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I've gotten shot by rental dudes plenty of times, like,
Yeah.
just because it's always a good lesson, like, oh wow, or maybe should have gotten shot based on if they had like a great accuracy, a great gun, or better shot. But it's a good kind of awareness drill to play rental dudes.
Yeah, my argument for like carrying 4 pods and everything too, and other people carrying more, is you're like, why don't you carry more pods? I was like, well, what's the difference? What's the difference of whether I can shoot the same? Let's say I got to get from A to bunker B, right? And there's a guy in bunker C that is shooting me in, and I need to shoot him in to get to bunker B. What is the difference if I shoot 2 or 3 balls at him and make him go in and I move, rather than shooting a half a loader at him and then moving and getting to my spot?
Nothing.
I feel like there's nothing really, because all I need to do is get him to stop shooting, and I'm either gonna shoot him, because I try and work on my accuracy a lot. And I know your accuracy is kind of like up to the individual paintball that comes out of your marker. Because imagine how many times, like, I think about this a lot too. It's like, imagine how many times that you just randomly like shoot poles and shit, and you're just kind of like dicking around at the field.
Out the box.
Yeah. Imagine how many times you like pull up and you're like, boom, you throw a ball out and it looks perfect and it just goes whoop, and it just like misses whatever you're trying to shoot. But you shoot the next one and it's like dead on. So I wonder how really accurate somebody is, because paintballs are such a variable. We say that they shoot straight, but we say that they shoot straight because we shoot like 10 of them in a row, and we can kind of see a grouping, right, that goes in a general direction. So we're like, oh yeah, it shoots straight. But like when it actually comes down to it, when we're trying to shoot somebody that's right in front of us, how many times have we actually been on, like our barrel and everything? If we've done it 1,000 times, it would actually be on, but it misses the guy because that certain ball maybe has like a fucked up seam or something like that, so it flies a little bit differently.
It's like we should switch the laser tag or something.
Fucking something.
No,
have you ever filled a loader and you got one of those chips, like the little paintball chip?
Without a non-filled paintball?
Yeah, where it's just a squished little hard chip.
Yeah, right.
I've gotten those a couple times.
Those are real exciting.
Yeah, I
Take that off. No, that's a good point. Yeah, imagine if like we were all perfect with our shot. And yeah, I mean, how many times have you like seen a dude's back and like either you're too excited or you whatever, you pull up your gun and you miss it and you're like, how the hell did I miss that, right? I mean, it's got to happen once every day, or once in practice you miss a shot that like you should have hit. Yeah.
But should you have hit? Because it's really up to the paintball of where it goes.
It's actually that's my superpower of choice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, right. You know, what superpower would you have? Mine is Bullseye, I think is his name, the supervillain who never misses. Everything he throws, he never misses any shot. Throwing, shooting, kicking, he never misses a shot.
He
That's his
should never
superpower.
lose. He should never
Yeah,
lose.
that would be my superpower. Paintball, I go out with 5 paintballs and
That's all you need.
just tink, 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 and then walk out and then go hit the buzzer.
Interesting take on it.
Either that or Magneto.
Mm.
Magneto's cool.
It's pretty cool. I never really got into comic books and like superheroes
I didn't
and
either.
shit. But I would love to go to a Comic-Con.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
You don't know what Comic-Con is?
No, I know what it is, but I don't know anything about attending one and
Oh, it's
what it
just
would.
people. Like the only thing I know about it is from what I've seen on like YouTube or whatever, or what I read about it, and it's
Those
literally
are-
just people dressing up as their favorite homemade costume superhero, and just showing up and just like I guess there's people from the TV shows and shit that go there, but everybody's dressed up
Nerding out.
as yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be fun.
It'd be interesting.
So you don't have a superpower that you'd
Oh man. My superpower would be I could never tell a lie.
That's not good.
No, I think
Did you wipe that hit, Carl?
yes.
Yes.
Invisibility would be pretty cool, or just flying. I don't know. There's so many that are like, whoa, man, I wish I could do this, but then I wish I could do this.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is a
It's
tough question.
Come back to me in Chicago and tell me
What if
what the
you
answer is.
What if you never had to eat?
Next.
Or you never had to shit. So you just never had to go to the bathroom ever. So you're just like, you never get caught in that
constantly
awkward
moving.
moment.
Or never having to sleep. You never had to. You just didn't need it. You'd
Yeah.
be like a millionaire in like 2 years.
Yeah. I think,
Super productive.
like, what if you could just solve... See, I always think about this, right? Like, you know, when people say somebody is smart, is it the fact that they're smart or the fact that they have a really good memory and they can pluck certain things from their memory and apply it to whatever they're doing?
Yeah, I think I think along those lines, yeah, like constructing, you know, and being resourceful is a super important skill. Um, like I went to mechanical engineering school, right?
Yeah.
And certainly wasn't the best at math or physics or anything. I'm pretty good at it, but more so I was better at kind of hooking together the dude that needs this homework and the dude that has this homework but needs the other homework, and then being in the middle and bartering the whole situation,
Yeah.
and then getting both homeworks out of it, or you know, stuff like that. Being a social engineer and kind of constructing my own destiny in that regard.
A social engineer. Nice.
Yeah, social engineer. I went to school for social engineering. Yeah, that's what I call myself.
That's pretty sweet. I mean, if you think about it, it's like, yeah. So, I mean, am I just an idiot? But social engineering is an actual thing.
No, I just made that up.
Okay.
But I wonder if it is.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Hey, it is. Yeah. Like on some kind of like Illuminati shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna socially engineer the ghetto, or like.
Well, the first time I heard that the term technologist, I thought it was a completely fake term because I was like, well, if I use technology, does that make me a technologist? I mean, it's like, it sounds so broad.
We use technology to make things better. Is that
Yeah.
what a technologist does?
I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. So what's in store for you next, man? I mean, do you plan on riding out the storm and just continuing to do clinics and travel the world and play paintball, or do you have anything in the future coming up?
Well, Chicago, obviously, and then after that in Paris, got the last event of the NXL Europe. Be playing that, and then I'll be kind of cruising around. There's a Mexican event I'm going to. I go there 5 times a year to Mexico, and then World Cup, and then back to Mexico and Australia for the tournament. Those Australian leagues are fun.
Yeah. I'd love to go back
and there. Yeah. And I work from my computer, so I kind of do whatever I want, or like live wherever I want, and try to limit my working hours and do it that way.
What is it that you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I do e-commerce. So I have a large e-commerce store that I manage, and it's great. Yeah, I quit my job like a year and a half ago, in an effort to free up time and location dependency.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in on the other side of the United States, hanging out. Went on a bridge today and hiked that. I actually have a picture of it.
Yeah, I must see that.
I don't know if you can see it. So there's my feet hanging off.
Holy shit.
And there's it's sideways now, but there's the river.
Dude, the Northwest is so beautiful.
There's the Pacific Northwest is cool. It's the second largest railroad bridge in the U.S. And yeah, it was huge.
It's not. It's not being used anymore.
Something. No, it's all. They took off a bunch of the railroad ties, like I said, and we had to like shimmy to get to safety. They made it like more dangerous, obviously.
Yeah.
To make people not want to go out there, but that's lame.
Is that a big base jumping destination?
That's what Ian said. Like, why don't people base jump out of here? And they should, but there was no. I think it's privately owned. So
gotcha.
There was none of that. But yeah, you could definitely have a sweet base jumping, or bungee jumping.
Yeah.
Like business going out of there.
Something. Well, hey man, I appreciate you sitting down and us, bullshitting back and forth. I always love hearing everybody's ideas and take on everything. But where can people find you on social media or in the World Wide Web?
Social media, Harrison Frye Ventures. That's my Instagram handle. And then just Harrison Frye, Frye, on Facebook. Hit me up. I'm a cool guy. I like to chat. And I'm a nice guy too. I like to respond to people. So send me a message.
Is that your description in your bio on
yeah,
Instagram?
Cool guy.
Cool guy, likes to chat, send me a DM.
Ladies only.
Ladies only.
Sorry guys.
Well, thanks again, man. I appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck in Chicago. And
yes.
make sure to stop by, high five, say hi.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Take care.
Cool, man.
Peace. Thank you all again for tuning into the podcast. I really appreciate it. Again, for everybody out there who is traveling to Chicago, or even who's playing in Chicago, I wish you all luck, and I hope everybody the best. Have a good time. Everybody be safe. Don't text and drive. And yeah, play your butts off. We'll see you guys there. Peace.